Stephen A. Smith, I'm going to leave this up to you. Do you want me to give you the truth, or do you want me to do what most people do, which is just put Andrew Luck in the Hall of Fame already? Which you just tell me what.
I want you to put Andrew Luck in the Hall of Fame already. Ha! You didn't expect that answer, did you? Go ahead and put him in the Hall of Fame already. Get it over
Okay,
with.
partially I will. Partially I will. Because you know what I saw last night? I saw a pretty typical Andrew Luck performance. Business as usual. He was typically Hall of Fame great, and he was typically shaky. I saw a lot of great, and then I saw a shocking amount of bad, all rolled into the same game, which is what I often see from one Andrew Luck. Now, early on, he was just crazy hot. He made 4 or 5 Hall of Fame bound throws, aided, of course, by the momentum that they were able to build by that successful onside kick that just flat out knocked the breath out of the home team and the home crowd. And I give it up to you, Stephen A. I mean, those were just breathtaking throws that he made. And then starting in the second quarter and continuing into the third and the fourth quarter, I saw Andrew Luck throw 4 or 5 balls that probably should have been intercepted. Only one of them was intercepted. One tip throw was intercepted. And obviously the play just before the J.J. Watt fumble return for a touchdown, Andrew Luck threw what should have been, if we could see that, a pick six. It just threw it right into Tuggle's hands. It should have been taken back for a touchdown, dropped. How many times last night did we see Houston Texans putting their hands up on their foreheads like, how did I drop that interception? Because Andrew Luck is going to throw you 4 or 5 possible interceptions nearly every game, which is why he threw 7 interceptions in 2 postseason games last year. It's why he threw 2 interceptions to get the Baltimore Ravens at home last week. I'm going to say this again because I first guessed this. When Andrew Luck was at Stanford, I second-guessed, or I should say first-guessed, the fact that his release point got awfully low because he delivers passes from a little bit of a low rider crouch. And it drops his release point from his 6'4" height down to about a 6'1" height, which makes him vulnerable to passes tipped at the line of scrimmage. Obviously, the Houston Texans tip passes better than anybody. Crick was tipping him last night, and obviously J.J. Watt tips him just almost every game. But that can be an issue for an Andrew Luck, whose team got outscored in the second half last night, 14 to only 6 points for the visiting Colts, 14-6. They survived that game, obviously, only because in the fourth quarter alone, the Houston Texans missed a chip shot field goal from 37 yards, and they fumbled twice down the stretch. They virtually handed the game back to an Andrew Luck from Houston, Texas, who was a little lucky last night in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's why his last name is Luck, Skip Bayless.
Yeah, I think
because
so.
He's not just
I agree.
Skilled, he has luck on his side.
Bravo for you.
He has luck on his side. But you know what? Last time I checked, all the great ones have luck on their side from time to time. We've never seen Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers throw passes that got tipped, threw passes that could have been intercepted. The stuff happens. You're talking about the stuff that happens over the process of a football game. But you just want to nitpick about Andrew Luck because you're an ultimate contrarian and you want to get on him all the time. You want to hate on him. That's all right. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? I did not interrupt you.
You deserve
Zip
that.
it. I'm talking. The fact of the matter is that you hate on Andrew Luck. You can't get enough of hating on Andrew Luck. The man threw 370 yards. He threw 3 touchdown passes. The 1 interception that he threw, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, stuff happens. That's what happens. You got J.J. Watt playing clearly like the defensive MVP to be. There is no question about that. Couple of fumble recoveries, 1 return for a touchdown, knocked down about 4 passes. You know, how many quarterback hits did he have on Luck? J.J. Watt was absolutely positively sensational. And if Jadeveon Clowney is going to be a semblance, just a speck of what we anticipate he'll be, that will make them even more formidable. There is no doubt about that. But when you look at the greatness of Andrew Luck, and he is approaching greatness, there is no question about that in anybody's mind that isn't a contrarian. I don't want to hear this stuff about, oh, the release is not high enough and all of this other stuff. I'm not saying you're wrong.
It's a little over your head.
I'm saying don't tell me that I'm not saying that it doesn't matter on a day like today. Don't give me that over my head nonsense. Just because I disagree with you, I'm a prophet when I agree with you, but I'm in over my head when I disagree. Oh, stop it. The fact of the matter is you're hating on Andrew Luck. You won't give him the props that he is due. You always got to couch it, and you do this all the time. You did it with LeBron. You're doing it with Luck, and who knows who else will be on your hit list. This is what you do. Get over it. Andrew Luck is the future of the NFL.
So,
he's the
you know
future.
What? You're right. You're right. I'm nitpicking. I'm going to sweep those 7 interceptions in 2 playoff games under the carpet. In fact, I'm going to take them out in the back, in the woods behind ESPN. I'm just going to bury them in the woods. Because that's where they belong. Because no one should ever remember that he threw 7 interceptions in 2 playoff games. Not 6 or 5. He threw 3 in the first one and 4 at Foxborough. 7 interceptions, but let's forget about that. Let's call it off. Let's go back to Indy. Let's go ahead and put him in. I wanted him enshrined at halftime last night. I think they should have. And in fact, his first quarter was Hall of Fame worthy. So maybe they should have just gone ahead and done it. But you know what? I don't want to hear from you again. Listen, I don't want to hear he does not have a running game. 136 yards rushing from both of those backs last night was pretty effective against a pretty good Houston defense. So don't give me that. And don't give me I read these pieces. He has under-average receiving. Baloney. T.Y. Hilton's as dangerous as anybody in the game.
I never said that.
Well, some people have.
Don't put that on me. With Allen, with Hilton, with Wayne, don't tell me I haven't said that about his receiving corps. But let me tell you something else. I don't hear you bragging about Trent Richardson or Ahmad Bradshaw. You talk about their toughness. You talk about how they're Rough Riders, but you don't brag about them.
Okay,
you don't brag about them.
I said it yesterday. I said they've had, this makes 4 straight games with 100-plus yards rushing between those 2 backs. And little big Ahmad Bradshaw, does he not run tough?
I like Ahmad.
Come on. Did he not do a lot for your Giants? What he did for your Giants, he's starting to do for this team. He's starting to make
he's starting to do it. He's starting to do it, but we didn't see enough of that last year, and we didn't see it at the beginning of the season. But I give Ahmad Bradshaw credit. I like him a lot, and he's tough. Trent Richardson is underachieved. That's just the fact of the matter. But the point is, I know they both can play. I've got faith in them. I'm just saying it hasn't materialized as of yet. But in the case of Andrew Luck, I'm not even saying to ignore the 7 interceptions that you point to last year. The problem is not that you bring it up. It's not in the fact that you bring it up. It's a fact. And you're right to do it. And you're right to be a little bit reticent on anointing him, as some would eloquently state it. But in the end, what you try to do is use that to define him. And that's what I'm saying is unfair to Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck is better than that. He does far more good than bad. And he is approaching greatness. And he is the future of the NFL, even more so than your guy, RG3, who we both like. And you need to just give him props for that.
I said he made 4 or 5 early Hall of Fame. Is that not hyperbole? Please. Hall of Fame throws? No. I don't know how much more hype I can bestow upon a man.
No. That's a slick answer that you give to the American public.
Oh, yeah.
You are talking to your boy Stephen A, who knows you. What you do when you do that is you're setting it up to knock him down. When you engage in that kind of hyperbole, that's what you do when it comes to guys that you want to hate on, and you know it.
All I know is that I neglected to even mention in all of this topic we just did that Andrew Luck entered the game last night tied for the NFL lead in interceptions. That's all. I wasn't going to mention it, but he forced me to.
He was also had the #1 passing attack. How about that? Did you mention that? Did you mention that?
I don't have to. Everybody else does.
No, you didn't mention it. You didn't mention it because you didn't want to. That's why I call you a slickster.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Andrew Luck is 13-2 in his career against the AFC South. So from number 12 to the 12th man, the Seahawks host the Cowboys this Sunday.